So speaking of ganja, ladies, not just ladies, the next topic is about ganja. And this so we have a group on Facebook, Just Reasoning, and Richie Royal, who has been on this show before, youth from Trelawny, and whose brother just got drafted to play for the Charlotte Hornets, by the way.
He's watching right now.
Yeah, big up yourself, Shane. He posted a question on the Just Reason group. What would it take to legalize ganja in Texas? And so there were some interesting responses, and there's an interesting article that was posted about what is being done specifically in Texas towards that goal. So just to sum up some things from the article, 2 Texas state senators introduced a bill to legalize, regulate, and tax ganja for recreational use in Texas. So their rationale being, the COVID-19 has blown a $4.6 billion hole in the Texas budget. So that's significant. Legalization would, they've analyzed it and said it would add about 30,000 jobs or so, and if it's taxed at a similar rate to what has been done in Colorado, would add like $1.1 billion in tax revenue to the state of Texas, which again is very significant. So just continue with those trends. This past November, 4 more states voted to have ganja, not medicinal. The number is greater for medicinal, but for recreational use, 4 more states voted to have ganja for recreational use, bringing the total to 15. So there are 15 states in the United States, as of this past November, that have legalized ganja for recreational use. So with that as the basic background, we're talking, what can be done here in Texas. And so, and in many things, this falls, for the most part, along political lines, not entirely, because like 2 other states that voted to legalize ganja for recreational use in November were Montana and South Dakota, which are 2 heavily Republican states who voted for Trump in this past election. But they also voted for recreational marijuana. In Texas particularly, though, the Republicans, control state office, control the state legislature, and they control what bills get to the floor, all of that. And they're completely against legalization. Not only are they against legalization, they're against lowering the penalties for recreational use, saying that it was basically be a path towards legalization. So within Texas, we have that fight. So with that said, we're considering the economic benefits. Tex, I'll start with you. Is it time for Texas to legalize a thing? What do you say?
Hello. How you gonna start with me on the weed section?
Yeah, it's just random. It's just random. I just pick somebody. I just pick somebody.
We talking about weed, Tex first.
Yeah. I just pick somebody. Either medium or more,
And where's your background, by the way? It look kind of
suburban
over there.
I upgrade my Zoom and I can't find the video and all kind of foolishness. Bex.
So, first of all, we say legalization, but I think of it as decriminalization. And the reason I say that is because of so many people that have been incarcerated for this so-called drug. When I think about alcohol, and I think that some of the things are in cigarettes and formaldehyde, zinc, and just things like that, they're in cigarettes compared to alcohol and weed. We should be thinking, why is there such a ban on this substance? Now, there are pros and cons to it, but as far as decriminalizing it at this point in time, I think it is time. I've read an article about 128 million people have tried marijuana, The 2 doctors are not in that count. But
So them say.
128 million
I saw them say.
have actually tried marijuana. Now, when I talk about decriminalization, over 600,000 people get charged with some kind of, basically get arrested for marijuana per year. So basically that's like 1 person every minute, okay? Decriminalization would actually, get rid of that. I mean, this is time that we spend prosecuting people in the court system that costs the state millions of dollars, okay? We could eliminate that totally. Now, when I talk about it, and when anybody talks about it, we should always talk about the pros and the cons, because there are pros and cons of it. Just like alcohol, it needs to be rules and regulations behind it and things like that. And it just needs to be a system around it. Now, as far as the Republicans are concerned, I really think we will have a chance once we make it financially appealing to them, because I don't think it's nothing more than that. And as soon as they can benefit off it financially, hey, I think we'll have a better chance.
All right, Doc. Okay. So for those who are, let me just ask. Let me not assume, ladies. Are you for or against legalization? I don't know if this has come up in Florida, but so let's say Florida and Texas. Where the issue in general? Are you for or against legalization of recreational ganja use?
I would, as crazy as this is gonna probably sound, I'd probably lean more towards 4.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. Now, why is that?
Because it's a natural herb, right? It's an herb, and it has medicinal benefits. No, yes, it does. No, the issue.
Weren't you just licking out against ganja like a while ago?
She said personally.
She said
I don't use it.
Tea she had talked about, man.
All right, thank you. See, all right, you try not to listen to tea.
Yeah, man. I really Devonshire lick out against She said, "Don't go down there. I drink it too hard down there."
But yeah, I just don't foresee Texas really, and I mean, seeing that we're here, we'll talk about that. It's nowhere, no time soon that's gonna be possible, because one, a lot of our funds get, generated from the prison system. The prison system is a business. So if we can find a reason to lock you up, business, right? That's one thing. The next thing is, especially Houston, we are the hub for medicine. So unless the medical side, the pharmaceutical side can find a way to benefit from this, that stuff, it's not going to get legalized.
So talking about the prison aspect, right? So talk about the prison aspect of that. So unbeknownst to me, I think last year Texas legalized hemp, and it's about an hour ago I found out the difference between hemp and marijuana. It's basically the same thing, but hemp is, if it's less than 0.3% THC, it's considered hemp. Greater than that is marijuana. Same plant, but THC is a substance. I guess you high. So Texas legalized hemp last year, and they said from that has happened, the amount of marijuana possession arrests has dropped significantly. Something like 63,000 to 40,000 or something. And then a lot of cities are just kind of lowering it on the priority list of things that they should run around. So yes, the prison industrial complex, we know, is a big business, but it's as Tech said, if you make it financially beneficial, that's when you go. They're not going to do it because of any other reason. But $1.1 billion is $1.1 billion. When you're looking at a big hole in your budget and you're thinking of the ways that we can patch this up versus, cutting funds and slashing funds for agencies, if you've seen another source of revenue, Texas is not going to sit by forever and watch all these other states, eat and get, full off all this ganja tax revenue. People going to Colorado and California, Texas is going to eventually. So they will not be an early adopter. They'll probably be one of the last states in the union. Mm-hmm. But, it is going to happen at some point. It's just a matter of when. I think ultimately we have to replace the people who are in the way right now. Texas, quote unquote Bible Belt or what have you, which, just a political voting block. But if you make the argument attractive enough financially, you will see more converts. Dr. J, Rasta. Why is it Rasta?
I don't know Rasta, Bridget. I am for it as well because the person.
Of course, the Rasta got to be for it. Okay, go on.
If you never smoked before, you're not gonna start now that it is legalized. So I don't think you're gonna be attracting so many more persons that wouldn't want to smoke it. Mm-hmm. And then just give them a free way. Okay, how much can you smoke? You're either gonna pass out and die, or you're gonna realize, okay, I can't do this thing like I thought I could. And a lot of times, if you think about our teens and Jamaican teens in America, right? Our parents can send us to get a beer or something. A young person here can't do that. Mm-hmm. I was never prone to start, like hiding and drinking alcohol and then not knowing what I'm doing, versus somebody here that would happen to. So mm-hmm. I think if it is legalized, then a lot of people that are trying so hard to find it elsewhere and try to hide and do what they're doing, it's not going to be so compelling for them to do it anymore because they can get it whenever they want to. And exactly. So it's going to cut down on that thing. And I do believe that the other doctor, she's right when they talk about the prison system and how much money they're making. Oh, wow. At FAMU right now, we have a medical marijuana project going on.
Really? And, are you on the project, Doc?
No, I'm not. But my I am not on the project, but my major professor is the executive director for that project.
Okay.
And she has put together an education, a little course on marijuana. Half of the stuff I heard blew my mind. I'm like, I didn't even know these things happened. So they're trying to educate as many Floridians as possible on the use of marijuana, both the advantages and disadvantages of marijuana. And I think if the states begin there, then legalizing it, people will be more responsible in using it later on. And you don't necessarily have to smoke it. I have had students that tell me that they've had, I don't know what they call it, the cake or whatever. And that brownies is far more dangerous than them just just smoking it.
The edibles?
So, yes, edibles. There you go. I was trying to remember what the word was. Yeah.
Man,
so that is far more dangerous than them smoking it because you're taking all of that stuff in your system.
Way more.
So and that is why I'm saying if you legalize it and educate the people about it, then you are going to reduce the abuse of that plant, that herb, so much.
Man,
it's not taboo anymore.
I had some ganja gummy bears about 8 years ago. I'm still high. Nah, man, because you just hear some gummy bears. So you just you're eating like gummy bears, and they're like, whoa, yeah. So edibles are dangerous things. Especially, what you say? Let me make you argue differently.
No,
give me an argument. Hold on. You can't talk your true feelings, but I'm going to ask it this way. Give me your argument against legalization.
Well, all right. Here the thing I know. After me left high school, a fire.
You stop burn weed.
Right. And then after me walking the advisor office like a rattler, and me look for my course outline.
Like a family rattler?
Yes, like a family. Right. After me see my course outline, I might have to burn some weed just to get through the semester. Right? Because me can't go do it. Right? All right. Consider this scenario now. Serious scenario. You leave your yard and you drive, you go buy some Popeyes. And a guy using car and lick your heart. Big crash. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And my personal injury attorney tell me, say, yo, you have to go to the doctor, you know. After me reaching the doctor office and a pain start lick me, I gonna need some marijuana to deal with the pain. So she have to write me a script. I saw me see it. Right? It's all go hard. So, you know, it help with the pain. Help with the pain. So that is the argument for it. Right? Now the argument against it.
Give me an argument against it. Yeah.
Argument against it is me don't want to drive down 290 and a high guy lick me on the road. Right?
So, all right, go ahead.
Because until illegal for drive and smoke, right? Don't give them no permission to use it. Because a guy go drive and smoke, then beat already. But now them gonna drive and smoke weed. Right? Right. You ever see a guy drive and smoke weed?
All the time.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, funny enough though, I've never heard of anybody who smoked marijuana that has had a crash. Seriously.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if it's I've never heard of it.
It's
because
Me
it's illegal
seriously.
Nah.
Me never
People
hear
don't care what the
nobody
laws are.
smoking marijuana, having any type of alcohol would do it, but me never hear nobody hype on marijuana crash yet.
Yeah, nobody high.
Me never hear about it.
Yeah.
When you're high, you're not speeding, you're chilling. You know.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know,
But you're in another.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've heard is that you're in another world. So you might be going down the road chilling, but you're not realizing that you're running into somebody's back just the same. So, I mean, maybe somebody need to do a study on that, and then they start checking. So they check for blood. They check for alcohol level in your breath, breathing stuff. So maybe that's something that somebody could start. You know, look at how many persons. Okay, you were drinking, were you smoking? You know whatever they test for with marijuana in your system.
One thing
how they could link it to it.
One thing I've heard is that marijuana is chemically less addictive than alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine.
Yep.
Right. So, you know, and what a friend of mine, I used to work with a long time ago, was telling me like the history of ganja prohibition, like how it started. It's like it has a very racial history around prohibition, like the jazz musicians and what have you. And so now they started demonizing it for that reason. And it's out of that history why they made it illegal to begin with, you know. But yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's a plant, right? It grow from the earth. There's no processing and all that. It's a plant, you know what I mean? So, I you know, but from an economic standpoint, you know, there is no argument to me why alcohol should be legal and ganja should be illegal. There is no good argument there.
The issue though is it's the people who are pushing it, and
I don't want to
pushing not legalizing it. I don't want to tread too long on this area. Marijuana is considered an herb, which basically means that it's sitting on the natural side. Okay, naturopathic, natural type of doctors we get fight day in, day out. Marijuana does have its medicinal benefits. Right.
Okay.
So even if you do it recreationally, the potential of it treating certain things is gonna be there, right? Even without it being tampered with for those medicinal purposes. So with that being said,
the pharmaceutical
AMA, that side of the world,
they're going to fight.
A problem with this because they're much of them business, you know.
Oh yeah.
You can't go buy some off of the set. Why we need to come get your medication?
Exactly. Plant that shit in my backyard and be healed.
That's good.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it either.
Yeah. Next time my back hurt me, I weed me one.
And a lot
Hey.
of people that have cancer, they do drink it
Yes.
or smoke it or whatever it is just to ease the pain.
Pain
Yeah,
relief.
that me
Pain
talk
relief.
about.
So it's
That me
it's a
talk
good
about.
pain reliever.
Pain relief.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot the name of the show, but
Them
it's,
have
it's
one
on.
call weed too, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have one call weed.
Weeds.
it's a show on Vice, and they talk about they're giving examples of many people going through all sorts of conditions, whether it be epilepsy or all sorts of different things, where
Cataract.
they had a benefit from, I mean, I'm talking like babies. Of course, babies not smoking, but in some kind of little oil that they put on their tongue, and you used to have all these seizures, and the seizures just stop. So if this is available, why would you want to make this thing illegal? And, I mean, obviously, that's a very good point that you made. Texas stuck on Florida now. So yeah, we know that fight is going to come from. There are entities that benefit from the situation as it is right now. For one, you mentioned a few of them. The prison industrial complex, you're going to get a fight from them. And you are going to get a fight from the pharmaceutical industry as well, until they figure out a way to make the same money off it. But that fight going to come. So, and in Texas particularly, we're just going to have to remove those people in office right now who are in the way. That's basically the issue right now. We're not going. It's easier to remove somebody than just to get them to change their mind. So I think.
But you want to educate them as well, so that they can
definitely
have a holistic approach to it. So maybe removing them may not be the best thing. But kind of educate them first, and then if nothing happens, then you kick them out after.
Right. So I agree with. Well, I agree with both parts. I agree with that educating, I think, is good for the overall public. Right? It's good for people to not be afraid of this. However, for the legislators, I don't believe they have really a principled position against this. I think it's just in their political interest to feel this way. So if we make it inconvenient for them politically to have this stance, then they will change. They're going to go with the flow based on what's going to keep them in office. I don't think it's a principle they have. I mean,
it's ignorance.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask a question now.
It's politics.
So when they legalize it, they're gonna let out all our people them, but then lock up because of
they should.
That's
be some kind of
the caveat
retroactive.
why they may not want to do it too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that are in prison because of it, now you have to decriminalize them, as Tech said.
Yeah. I mean, so there's and we're talking about
in the states that they have legalized it, they have decriminalized it and
in some
letting people out. In some,
but it would be a separate bill, right? Because people in jail for the crime they committed at the time, so if you pass legalization, you would then have to pass a separate thing that says everybody who's in jail for it right now should be free. And that should happen.
That's how you went to jail for it, though, because if you were just a consumer with some in your pocket versus you having
strictly possession,
a retailer or whatever.
Suppose me have one thermos full of weed tea.
Somebody not gonna know
that's your business.
Thermos.
They're not gonna know what you have.
Oh man. Yeah, anyway, so
just like if you're going about with your edibles, nobody not going to know that it's in there.
A gummy bear is a gummy bear.
Exactly. They're not gummy bear. If you have byproducts of it, you're not going to jail for it because they're not testing for it.
But suppose I want licky
gummy bear mash me up, man.
Suppose I want licky police. One licky police pull me over and see me at gummy bear and say, yo, I'm not one of them then.
Give one.
Be my guest.
Give him someone.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You happier police officers out there. Shoot.
Yeah, for real. Kill less people. And this